Hallelujah. 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 Dum, 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 dum. All righty. Heavenly Father, I thank you for many blessings, waking me up this morning, giving me your appointed times to focus on. We are in a time of Passover and unleavened bread. Thank you. This is the time to get the sin out. We should be getting that out all the time, but this is a specific time to get it out your home. Definitely, if you're the priest of your home, get it moving. And I'm the priest of my home, so I'm working on getting the leaven out of me so that I can move forward and not be walking around in the desert another 40 years. I thank you that as I set forth the example in my home, that forgiveness and being able to walk through situations and not relive them over and over and again. As I learn to do this, that I'm able to give the example, and it's also something that's able to be learned in my home. Not everybody's built like me, but this still may be applicable to so many people. So let me go forth. Thank you for working with me. Thank you for guiding and loving on me. Hallelujah. Blessings and shalom. Okay. All right. This is preparation day, but in the preparation day, I'm getting myself prepared to go into the Passover. I already myself read Second Chronicles 29. I've read all of this before, but I wanted to go into it fresh with you on Second Chronicles 30. Basically, want to lay down some ground. We may have situations going on in our lives that are basically leaven or sin, and not be able to purge ourselves of it immediately. Coming up on the Passover, you should not go into the Passover with these things, with these burdens, these oughts towards others, because doing so, you open the door for Yah to have an ought towards you. You're not clearing out the leaven. And so not clearing out the leaven opens the door where the spirit of Yah that passes over, that guards your home, that protects your home, you're not giving it the position that it should have. And the spirit of death has permission to come in your home. And we're in COVID season. We're dealing with so much, and we need his hedge of protection. We're dealing with this world that's trying to take away what some people see as human rights and things of that nature. This world ain't never supposed to be fair, seeing as man has transgressed against Yah's law, and in that, it wasn't fair towards him. And of course, we deal with what we sow. You're going to reap what you sow. You're going to get from the harvest. And so right now we're actively working to pluck up things so that we can put those things away and not walk those things out. See, I'm one that loves to vent, and it's a release. True enough, it is. It's a solution, but it's a secular or a man or a human solution. And it's better to me to vent than to explode, but we should allow the Ruach to bring forth healing, Ruach to bring forth clarity. And so venting, yes, is an option, but it's not the best option. The best option is to allow the Ruach to cleanse you, to remove those oughts, and give you a greater vantage point, a better perspective, so that you see things how Yah sees it. So you're able to endure the hardness like a soldier and not burst. We don't want to be a pipe or a conduit that's full of pressure that bursts. We want to be able to flow through, let the spirit, the ruach flow through us so that we can be his vessels. We can operate from time to time in his ruach, but a lot of times we turn that off. See, one thing about um, conduit, if you look at plumbing, hot and cold goes through that pipe, but we want to be a pipe, that's not just useful for getting things through, but getting the right things through. I know that hot and cold parable had nothing to do with good or bad, really. It had a lot to do with useful. And when it said good or bad, it was just talking about being useful. It wasn't talking about being carnally good or carnally bad and things of that nature, but it's always taken that way. And so basically, I want to get to the point where I'm not just ministering out of my hurts or dealing with those things, but also moving progressively towards moving into the the promised land. I don't want to be circling around and circling around and circling around and circling around and be in the desert for those 40 years and constantly in that mode. I'm 48 and I'm supposed to be past some of these things, I believe. I do believe that Yah uses the things, because a lot of times when I do put a vent, I get hit up in my inbox and, people, say, thank you for speaking on that because there's something that I'm dealing with. But I don't want to just give them confirmation that other people are going through something, but I want to give them more than that. Give them also my testimony of getting through it. Now, there are many things that I've gotten through it. I dealt with a bully when I was younger, and I seen somebody celebrating him and things like that, and it bothered me and stuff because I remembered how bad he was, but I remember also how bad I was. And though I was not at the time that level, but as I got past his age, he died about 16, 17. But when I got later in my 19, 20, I did some stuff and I could have died in that. And I got the opportunity to get my stuff together and get my stuff right. And now I'm happily married 18 years. I've got beautiful children. Yes, situations have happened with my first set of children, but I can't control everything in that narrative. But though the things that are going on in my home now, I have greater grasp and control. And Yah has greater control because I put him first. But I've got to live a life. And so I'm no longer upset with this guy because he's in the grave. It makes no sense to be mad at someone that's deceased. They can do no more to add or take away from their judgment. Their judgment is set. And so I don't feel any hostility towards him or his memory at all. Even thinking of it doesn't bother me, but I have so many other things that when I think of it, it bothers me. And so I want to get to that vantage point and that different perspective where I can release. But I'm rambling about other stuff. Let's get to this message. The message is basically the Passover, but we want to deal with it. We're going to go over here, share my screen, and get over here to 2 Chronicles 30. Basically, in 29, we see that the priests had came together with Hezekiah, and they had began to clean up the temple and clean themselves up and get prepared and get ready for the Passover. But the thing is, they didn't get things completed and didn't get everybody on the same page before the Passover. So they end up doing as the law says and going to the next month, the 14th day, and doing the Passover. So right now, anyone that's not, I guess, gotten to the point where they feel like they let go of the leaven, they don't have to feel too distraught that if they miss this Passover, do it again next month. But let's read. So Dibri Hayam Bet, or Second Chronicles 30. And Hezekiah sent all of Israel and Yehuda. And he also wrote letters to Ephraim and Manasseh to come to the house of Yahuwah at Jerusalem to perform the Pesach to Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel. But the sovereign and his leaders and all the assembly in Jerusalem had taken counsel to perform the Pesach in the second new moon, second month, for they were unable to perform it at its time because not enough priests had set themselves apart. So if you have not set yourself apart, get it together and get ready for the next month. You're not all the way out of sorts. So you can get your home together for the next month. Not enough priests, we are the royal priesthood of our homes, had not set themselves apart, and the people had not gathered at Jerusalem. See, we're not gathering at Jerusalem yet. We're still over here in this land of bondage. But when you do, when we get to the next level of time, when time ends, I should say, this will be a requirement. This is something that we will do, basically, as we are part of the kingdom of Israel. And the matter was right in the eyes of the sovereign and in the eyes of all the assembly. And they settled the matter to send a call to all Israel and Beersheba to Dan to come to perform Pesach to Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel at Jerusalem, since they had not done it for a long time, as it is written. Just a second. Woke up a little dry throat, so I'm drinking a little tea. Okay, 6. And the runners went to all Israel and Yehuda with the letters for the sovereign and his leaders, and spoke according to the command of the sovereign. Children of Israel, turn back to Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham, Yishak, and Israel, so that he returns to the remnant of you who have escaped from the hand of the sovereigns of Asher. See, we're going to be the remnant who escaped from this world in the Antichrist. 7. And do not be like your fathers and like your brothers who trespassed against Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers, so that he gave them up to ruin, as you see. Now, do not stiffen your neck like your fathers. Stretch forth the hand to Yahuwah and come to his set apart place, which he has set apart forever, and serve Yahuwah, your Elohim, so that his burning wrath turns away from you. See, we're going to do the Passover, the Pesach here at my home this weekend. Having a few guests and stuff like that. And we're going to basically give honor and reverence. And we have already began putting out the leaven out of our home, and it will be out of here. And I want to also deal with my, past issues and put that out. So I've been working on it. I had a big brother of mine talk to me and basically give me some counsel, and that's all I'd be looking for, some manly counsel. And he didn't tell me nothing any different than what my wife has been telling me. Her being a mental health therapist and stuff, she got some good knowledge. But yeah. 9. For if you turn back to Yahuwah, your brothers and your children shall be shown compassion by their captors, even to return to this land. For Yahuwah, your Elohim, shows favor and compassion and does not turn his face from you if you turn back to him. And the runners passed from city to city throughout the land of Ephraim and Manasseh as far as Zebulun, but they were laughing at them and mocking them. See, the people, oh my goodness. I'm dealing with that myself, people mocking me when I speak about stuff in the past. And, I open myself to that. I need to shut it down. Some of the stuff I need to work on dealing within, if anything, stay within the counsel of my own home, deal with Yahuwah, deal with my wife, and stop putting other folks in every aspect. Not that I'm looking for sympathy, but sometimes, if I be honest, I be wanting revenge, and that's in self-revenge. Vengeance become a problem. That becomes a tear in the wheat, because vengeance belongs to Yahuwah. 11. Some from Asher and Manasseh and from Zebulun, however, humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem. See, some of the people humbled themselves. That's what we want to work on doing, humbling ourselves. You could be angry and sin not, but sometimes, let's work on not even being angry. Let's get a different perspective. Let's be soldiers. Let's endure like soldiers, the hardness of this world, and just, get through. We're all about enduring to the end, and not constantly having triggers and having it where somebody can gaslight you and push you, push your buttons. Remove the buttons. Let's get the buttons out of the way. We have a purpose. We have a plan. If you constantly have people pushing at your buttons, how can you be doing the work of Yahuwah? If you're constantly dealing with your buttons being pushed, your focus is always going to be on what's happening to you and not Yah's work. Yes, you have to do some self-care. You have to deal with yourself, but you are not the total focus. You were created unto good works. Those works were not dealing with your own life all the time. You're here to be a blessing, to be a conduit to others. As he blesses you, blessings are supposed to pour through you. You cannot be a ministering spirit if you're only dealing with your own stuff all the time. It's not about self. It's about the nation. We got to get that together. And I'm one that say, I need to get that together. It's time to get that right. 12. Also, the hand of Elohim was on Yahudah to give them one heart to do the command of the sovereign and the rulers at the word of Yahuwah. So my heart to do the will of Yahuwah. I stumble. I won't lie. I stumble. But I thank you for those that gird me up, those that encourage me, and those that hold me accountable. We have to have accountability partners and peers that we trust, that won't always just agree, but will hold us and show us or speak to us and tell us, oh, that's not Torah, or you're out of line with the Tanakh. You're not in line with the scriptures. Get it together. Someone that'll see the booger in your nose and see the toilet paper on your shoe, and though it may embarrass you, they'd rather you get it taken care of so that you don't have to walk around and have people speaking behind you about the infirmities or the flaws that you have displayed. They'd rather you fix the issue, and they'll take, basically they'll take that it may offend you, it may bother you. But once you see that it's really the case, that you have a booger in your nose, that you have something under your foot, you'll be more quick and apt to move it. It's sad how people will let you be out there and will only say something to you about you being in error or out there when you cut them. They speak out of malice more so than love. And see, me, myself, I believe you should tell someone the truth to help them and not to harm them. Iron sharpens iron means that there will be some friction, but it should not be an intentional hurt, where you're trying to tear someone down, but you're actually trying to sever something that's killing them, that's taking away life so that they may grow more. We got to be a blessing to one another. That's one of the issues I believe that happens with Israel, is that we turn our back on sin, and that sin is allowed to stay in the camp. And that leaven, it ends up ruining the whole lump. Got to get that leaven out. Not to be angry, not to be bitter, not out of malice, but for the best of the kingdom, for everyone. Okay, 12. And the hand of Elohim was on Yahudah to give them one heart to do the command of the sovereign and the rulers at the word of Yahuwah. And many people, a very great assembly, gathered at Jerusalem to perform the festival of Mazah in the second new moon. And I don't know, okay, what's that Pesach? Okay, ignorant of that term. And they rose up and removed the slaughter places that were in Jerusalem, and they removed all the incense slaughter places and threw them into the Wadi Qidron. Then they slew the Pesach on the 14th day, on the second new moon. And the priests and the Levites were ashamed and set themselves apart and brought the ascending offering to the house of Yahuwah. And they stood in their place according to their right ruling, according to the Torah of Moshe, the man of Elohim. The priest sprinkled the blood from the hand of the Levites. I've always said it Levites. I don't know how the proper tongue is. For many in the assembly had not set themselves apart. Therefore, the Levites were over the slaughter of the Peshium for everyone who was not clean to set them apart to Yahuwah. For many of the people, many from Ephraim and Manasseh and Issachar and Zebulun, had not been cleansed, yet they ate of the Pesach contrary to what was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, Yahuwah is good, provide atonement for everyone. That's a good ruler or a good leader there. He's trying to cover them all. Who has prepared his heart to seek Elohim. So prepare your heart to seek him, even if you haven't, prepare your heart to seek Yahuwah Elohim of our fathers, though he is not cleansed according to the cleansing of the set apart place. One day we're going to have to talk on what is the exact cleansing of the set apart place. And Yahuwah listened to Hezekiah. Hezekiah is what we've been always told, but his Kayahu, and healed the people. And the children of Israel who were in Jerusalem performed the festival of Matzah 7 days with the great joy, and the Levites and the priests praised Yahuwah day by day with the instruments of praise before Yahuwah. And Kayahu spoke to the heart of all the Levites, those having good understanding, good comprehension concerning Yahuwah. So they ate during the appointed time 7 days, slaughterings of peace offering and making confession to Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers. And all the assembly took counsel to perform another 7 days, and they performed it another 7 days with joy. For his Yahu, sovereign of Yahudah, presented to the assembly 1,000 bulls and 1,000 sheep. And the rulers presented to the assembly 1,000 bulls and 10,000 sheep. And a great number of priests set themselves apart. And the assembly of Yahudah rejoiced, and the priests of Levites and all the assembly who had come from Israel, and sojourners who came from the land of Israel, those who dwelt in Yahudah, and there came to the joy of Jerusalem for since the days of Shlomo, Solomon, I guess, son of David, or Daud, excuse me, the sovereign of Israel. The like of this had not been in Jerusalem, and the priests of Levites rose and blessed the people, and their voice was heard, and their prayer came up to his set apart dwelling place, to heaven, or to the Shamayim. Well, that was just a brief little talk, just reading. But seriously, we entering into the Passover. Today is the preparation day, and Sabbath comes, and then after the end of the Sabbath, that begins the Passover. So that'd be actually 6 p.m. evening, or, that's around the time. But getting the leaven out is what we should be doing right now, getting that prepared. And that's not just dealing with the natural leaven, far as, products and foods with leaven, but also the sin out of your house. Working on things, getting those things in order. And so, my process of elimination, a lot of times I bring up stuff or whatever, but I don't want to keep bringing it up. Need to get it out. So I've dealt with some things that, lately and brought them up that I was venting, I guess. And I wasn't angry at the time, but those are things that was going through my mind as I was approaching towards this Pesach, or this Passover, because I don't want those things to cross over with me. I do want to actually get through those things, and I don't want to profess and say that I will. I won't. I should say that I won't. But if I don't, still, I want to have the strength to stop replaying the thing outwardly and giving it strength. Want to get to the point where I'm able to move past it still and get into the promised land or to the level of teaching or the level of focus that I should be, so that ministering is going forth, not just in those moments, but in other things. I don't want to be trapped or only dealing with I guess the issues of life that I had. I want to be able to be used for moving things forward. Right now, we're about to enter a new season that we've never seen before. We already see that the president is trying to take away weapons from people, or guns and stuff like that. Something that he promised or said he wasn't going to do, but he's went to the Supreme Court about it. No, he didn't get permission for that, but it's something that they're seeking. You got to wonder, what is their plan? What is their purpose? If they take all of the weapons from the citizens, this land has a history of basically the government wanting to make the people here. That was before we were even considered people Israel, but they wanted to take the people's weapons so that they were defenseless and they were able to do to them as they please. And so, we Israelites, they've always had rules against us having weapons and trying to stop our ability to defend ourselves, to be able to go against or revolt against the treachery that they brought towards us. And so there are just other nations now that are feeling some of the stuff that we felt. They are in some of the same bondage that we've been in, and yet we have a promise towards us that if we turn to Yahuwah, those things will fall off of us as we turn as a nation of people. But this has to happen, but in the process of it, how do we deal with it? How do we unite? We have situation right now that, though they say that I guess they use discrimination, things of that nature as a strength. Those that live contrary lifestyle to the scriptures, say, oh well, we're discriminated against, but they actually use those things as a power to discriminate against those that believe in Yah. So those that believe in a heterosexual relationship are the ones that are actually being attacked. They're the ones that are being discriminated against because they're seen as intolerant or whatever, because they have a view and a perspective. So their way of thinking is wrong. And it's been the common way, or the way of life for a long time. But yet persecution is coming their way. Those that don't want to allow chemicals or something that's not even FDA approved, like a vaccine, put in their body. They want to trust their natural body's immune system. Those people are being persecuted. They're going to be pressured. And so what are we going to do? We shouldn't be in fear. We should not do things out of fear. But how are we going to work together? What are we going to do? Those things are things that need to be, dealt with or talked to about by leaders. We should be leading the people and dealing with that. But if they're still dealing with natural stuff, dealing with issues what happen with their childhood and things of that nature, they're not dealing with the current events that's going on. And that in itself is what people need help in right now. We need a means of escape. We need a means of setting forth the exodus, the current exodus. Not dealing with a lot of this stuff in the past over and over, where our focus is on that 40 years in the desert and not what's over in the promised land. We got to get ready. And, a lot of us have started our own personal gardens and things of that nature, but do we have I guess, connections where we can trade stuff or whatever. We need to be setting those things up. We have so many things that we need to be doing. The Passover, yes, when they left out of Egypt, they were to worship Yah. But when they left out of there, they had to depend on one another. They had to come together. They had to worship as a people, but they also had to live as a people. We don't know how to live together. Most of us love to be separated from the group, because then we say, I don't have to deal with their mess. Problem is, you need to be able to deal with their mess. We need to be solutions to each other's problems. We need to be able to be the eyes and the mouths to speak to these things, to say, hey, that's leaven. Let's get it out. Let's get it out. So, yes, we need to work on ourselves individually, but we're not made as individual people. We are a part of a kingdom, 12 tribes to be exact, to build up a kingdom. So each tribe can't just say, I'm sticking to my tribe. No, has to care about the whole 12. Otherwise, divided we fall. We have to come together. How do we do that? First, you do have to deal with self. You have to deal with home, your home. But once you've dealt with home, the process is not over. The work is not over. There's more to do. We were created unto good works, and those good works are not just for ourselves, but it's for his kingdom. So that you can't just say, I'm focused on my tribe alone. I'm focused on my brand. I'm focused on my assembly alone. No, if you're not focused on the whole of Israel, you're out of order. So we got to let go of oughts with assemblies, oughts with these camps, oughts with all of that, and work to come together, because we all we got. CMB, CMB, CMB. We all we got. Yeah. Old movie scene, but we all we got. Yah works in the unity of us all. He wants us to come together. He wants his whole kingdom. He wants his whole bride. He doesn't want part of her. He wants all of her. Come together. All right. Blessings. Hallelujah. We thank you. Yeah, we thank you for this opportunity to speak on getting out the leaven. May you identify the leaven in each and every one that has heard this message, and help them to see it, and help them to accept any help in getting rid of that thing. It may be a process, but be with them and let them be willing to be open to advice, open to prayer, open to results that's different than what they've had before. I thank you that as we walk with you, talk with you, we become more like you, purging out things that are contrary to your way and being, walking in your authority and your ruach, pressing out any ruach that may be unlike you that's in us, those familiar spirits, those generational curse, canceling all those things, so that we may be able to see those that are still in that situation and guide them out. Be able to see those that facilitate those situations and talk to them and not fight against them, and even show them the results of you getting out, so that they themselves may have the option of getting out, getting rid of the leaven, getting rid of the sin, learning that the anger still is destructive, even if you sin not, that the remembrance of past things is not a bad thing to remember, but it's bad to not have the proper perspective and see it how Yah sees it. Learn from it, not constantly repeating and repeating, but learn from it, get through it, and be able to teach from it, be a blessing because of it. Thank you that we have victory. We are not victims. We have been victimized, but we are not victims. We are of a royal priesthood. So we must walk and talk in the authority of Yah. Come forth boldly to his throne of grace. Yes, you have to be humble. But the humbling process is something that he does. Partner with it. Partner with it. And then in due time, he will exalt you. He will give you the boldness to approach his throne of grace. He'll give you the in withal to fight off temptation. He'll give you the set apart spirit. He'll give you the strength to pass over all situations that come your way. Thank you for the blessings. Thank you for the shalom on this preparation day and further. Thank you, Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. Blessings. Shalom.